Hello, this is Robert Kessig from Tar and Feathers discussing incumbency. In particular, we're going to focus on the U.S. House of Representatives. Right here in the middle of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex lies Texas District 24. Incumbent is Kenny Marchant, considered by many to be a Republican conservative. All right, this time we want to talk about what we learned, first of all, from Milton Friedman. In his famous book, Free to Choose, he discusses that in the marketplace, we're free to choose the products and services that we want from those who we want it from, and we determine that based on price and other issues that come into our decision-making process, and we should be free to choose to do those things. The same place in the marketplace of political representation. We need to be free to choose for who we want to represent us in making the laws, or shall we say, in some cases, some of us would prefer not to make more laws. In the case of the U.S. House of Representatives, a tremendous amount of representatives maintain their seat through the power of incumbency, and so we want to discuss that what kind of a choice do we really have to make in the U.S. House of Representatives? How do we choose to vote when most of these districts are determined by one party or the other dominating, and seldom do they have any competition running against them? Incumbency, why? Why is there such a demand to be reelected? It's simply because the longevity of holding office is the road to power. Anyone who's in office longer and longer, you can take the really extensive periods of time like Charlie Rangel, any of those people who have been in the House for a long time, they have a tremendous amount of power. And that's what people who seek office want. And they usually go through a trail, which I'm going to describe, that proves that they learn the ropes and they learn what they need to do to gain that power. So let's just take Kenny Marchant as an example. Each step along the way. In 1980, he becomes a city councilman in his hometown of Carrollton, Texas. He waits his time until the mayor decides he's going to retire. He gets to know all the right people and so forth, and basically gets the outgoing mayor to endorse him to be the new mayor when he is good and ready. He takes over as mayor and becomes mayor, and then seeks out a state representative position when that becomes available. He goes from the mayor of Carrollton to state representative in Texas and the state House representatives in Austin. In Austin, he works his way onto a committee that has to do with redistricting. Of course, this serves a tremendous purpose, because if you get on the redistricting committee, then you can set up your own district for you to run for the U.S. House of Representatives. And that's exactly what he did. He got on the redistricting committee and set up the district to wipe out the liberal Martin Frost that extended all the way down into Grand Prairie into a much more democratically denominated district at the time. It was not uncommon for Mr. Frost to win by 60% or more for many, many years. So that was a carved out Democrat district. So now it was going to be carved into a Republican district. And that's exactly what happened. And Mr. Marchant was directly able to influence where those lines were drawn. Naturally, Carrollton was brought into the fold because, of course, he was councilman and mayor of Carrollton, so Carrollton needed to become part of that district as they redrew the lines. Because Congressman Dick Armey was so incredibly successful and became the majority leader during the Reagan years, his district had some good conservative votes to be able to move over into this district as well. So the district moved on out to the west, out to South Lake, Colleyville, Grapevine, and Capel, and roped all that in, and then chopped off the southern part where there was heavily Democratic. So now it became an extremely conservative district. So now this district was wide open. Mr. Marchant had done all the things he needed to do in the Republican Party to gain favor as their person to be in this seat. So notice I said it was the Republican Party's choice. It really wasn't the people's choice, because what they do in this redistricting and this gerrymandering of the lines is They choose us. We don't choose them. So that's the kind of the final blow, is that we really don't get to choose at all. And the data that I looked up showed that in the primary in 2004, this was when George Bush was being reelected for his second term, so there was a Republican in the White House. It was a good time for Republicans to hold their seats anyway. This new seat opens up, and Mr. Marchant wins the primary against three no-name people. One of them I looked up was actually from the Green Party, running as a Republican, so hardly Republicans were going to vote for that person. Each of those three people got about 1,000 votes each, and Mr. Marchant got a U.S. House Representative primary election win with 9,000 votes, some 70-some% in the primary. So really a total of 12,000 votes cast determined who was going to be the representative for that district, because now it was an incredibly entrenched and redrawn and gerrymandered Republican district, and so the Democrats hardly run anybody against them, as do the Republicans don't really run anybody against heavily entrenched Democratic districts, vice versa. It goes both ways. So the new District 24, Martin Frost is out, Kenny Marchant is in, the former mayor of Carrollton, the former congressman from the same region is now in the U.S. House of Representatives. So we then go on to the next presidential election of 2008, and there is no primary challenge. There is no Republican challenge. So again, we have no choice because there's not going to be a Democrat, and there certainly was no choice in an alternative Republican. So that brings us up to the present, 2012. The next, I'm passing the interim 2 years when it's a non-presidential election, because so many people don't turn out in the off-presidential year. It's really inconsequential. It's pretty much a free pass for incumbents to move on and be reelected. It doesn't matter what your name is, doesn't matter what your party is, it doesn't really matter where you're located. So here we go on to the 2012 election that we're coming up to now. So I'm making this comment because for the first time since I've been in the Irving area in District 24, there actually is a two-person challenge in the Republican primary. Obviously, if someone's going to earn a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives in District 24, they're going to have to run as a Republican in the primary, no matter what they stand for. So I'm here to let you know that there's a fellow by the name of Grant Stinchfield who is running as a Republican against the incumbent Marchant, who has now been there since 2005. So he will be wrapping up his 8th year this year in office. This is the power of the incumbency. This is why we don't really have a choice. Remember what I said in the beginning about Milton Friedman, that he taught us that it's our ability to choose which really maintains our liberty. And you can take that to almost any topic, because now they're talking about not letting us choose our own light bulbs and the company who makes them. I just wanted to give this brief overview in Tar and Feathers. I think it's a significant event. I think people should open up their eyes to the potential of alternatives in office, and they should check out Grant Stinchfield for Congress and look at the record or what he proposes, and of course look at Mr. Marchant's record and what he proposes. So until next time,